Well, hello everyone and welcome. My name is Mac Atkinson, and along with my sister Janet, we'd like to welcome you all to the April 2018 Sunrider Fusion Network conference call. I'm really excited this month. We've got Sheryl Fitzharris and Dolphyn Boschman on with us from Canada. Hey ladies, say hello to everybody.
Hi.
Excellent. So happy you two could be on with us because our topic this month is kind of spring cleaning and detoxing with Sunrider, which is, I know, something that both of you are very much involved in. And Dolphyn, you specifically, I know you do a whole seminar in this, and we can't wait to hear from you as we get into the presentation and talk a little bit more. But before we get started, what I'd like to do is just remind everybody, as we always do, that none of the information provided in this presentation is intended to represent a diagnosis or cure of any illness or disease. And I just kind of like to get started, if I can, this month, because we haven't done this in a number of months actually, is talk just for 2 minutes about why choose Sunrider. And again, this is one of my favorite slides that we haven't used in a while, but I thought it was appropriate, especially given some of the things we're going to talk about today. And the fact that over the last couple of months and the current tour around that Dr. Chen and Dr. Rubin and Josh and everyone's doing right now, the real focus of their tour is talking about the Sunrider difference. And for me, it's always been about the bullet points up on the screen now. Stability. Sunrider's been around for over 35 years, has never missed a check. The opportunity for a global-based business based on your rank within Sunrider, operating in over 50 countries around the world. The fact that Sunrider is debt-free, which is really unheard of in today's marketplace. The fact that they handle all of our administration, our accounting, our 24/7 order processing. And again, most importantly for me, coming from a manufacturing background before I joined Sunrider, Sunrider internally handles all the research, development, and manufacturing of over 400 of the world's finest herbal-based foods, cleansing beverages, weight management, sports and fitness, household, and natural cosmetic products. And reagain, what these foods and these products are for me, it's really they're the fuel that drive our Sunrider business vehicle. But what makes them so truly unique, I should say, is they're all produced under what we call our philosophy of regeneration. And Sheryl, you win the prize, or the short straw, or whatever you want to call it today, okay? Would you tell everybody, just in your own words, what does philosophy of regeneration mean to you?
Well, first of all, Mac, it means that we have to take responsibility for our own health. Nobody else can do it for us. And that if you want to have a balanced life and be healthy, there's 4 optimal principles that you need to take into consideration. One is that we need to nourish the body with whole food nutrition. A lot of people take supplements or medications and things like that when they're not well, but the best thing to do is to eat foods that feed the cells of the body, and that will help your cells nourish and regenerate and become stronger again. And then we always have to keep everything inside in balance. We don't want one system taking away from another. We want to keep everything working together, and that's where the balance comes in. And if we want our health to be there on a regular basis, we have to clean out the junk. So we have to cleanse, right? And we don't want to put chemicals in our body. We want to eat a variety of the plants and fruits and vegetables that was put on this earth for us to feed our bodies with. Mm-hmm. And most important of all, we have to pay attention to where the source of our foods come from. And with Sunrider, the owner's expertise that we have involved with the Chens, the doctors, herbalists, pharmacists, they know the body, they know the products, they know food, so they know how to concentrate them. And we self-manufacture, which means we're totally in control of the final end of the product. We end up with a quality concentrated product that actually nourishes, balances, and cleanses the body. So it's the circle of life, all with these wonderful products. Primary
Perfect. Sheryl, thank you very much. I appreciate you going through that, because as we begin to talk about some of the things we want to talk about today, this is going to be very relevant to what we're speaking about. So thank you so much for that. I guess before we get into some of the product reviews and talking about liver cleanses and detoxing and all of that, I just kind of want to remind everybody that this is the perfect month for this conversation, because first of all, April is the time for kind of spring cleaning, and it's Earth Month, and all of that kind of stuff. And, I just wanted to just share a few things with people about, we talk about Earth Month and so forth, and be earth aware and earth friendly. And to me, it means, well, just the simplest stuff. I mean, go paperless as much as we can. If you're going to print, use both sides of a piece of paper. BYOB, and by that I mean, bags and bottles. When you go to the grocery store, use recyclable bags. Make sure you're not using things with plastic bottles that are just going to have to be thrown in the trash. Feel the power of nature. Go out and plant a tree, and that's something Joey, my wife, and I have been focusing on this last couple of weeks here around our house, just kind of cleaning up around the house. Matter of fact, I wish I would have thought to take some pictures. Everyone thinks of the desert like it's the Sahara, but our desert is in bloom like you wouldn't believe right now, okay? And it's just spectacular. And, reevaluate and renew all aspects of your life. Get outside. Of maybe doing the treadmill inside, get out and take a walk or be on your bicycle if you can. Uplift and let your spirit fly freely. And I know that sounds kind of silly, but it's true. I mean, it's that mental cleansing and attitude as well. And, when we talk about our cleaning habits and getting into the green, I don't just mean our cleaning out our garage and our closet, but this is also a time to be sweeping out our digestive organs and kind of cleaning out our body as well, which is kind of lead us into our next topic. And I guess this is probably a great time to maybe jump into first product we wanted to talk about this month, which is our Sunbright Super Clean products for both the household and the laundry. And with that, I mean, I don't care which one goes first. I mean, Sheryl, you give us some first comments on this one, if you don't mind.
What is so wonderful about our products is that, number one, they're safe, not just for the environment, but for us. Number two, it's so easy. You can go under your sink or in your laundry cupboard and get rid of everything that's in there and replace it with one bottle of our Laundry Super Clean and one bottle of our all-purpose cleaner, because they do everything. And there's no residue. There's a beautiful nature smell when you're finished. I have a lot of people that have cleaning businesses and they use these products, and every single time the owners, when they come home, the feedback I get is how lovely their house smells and how safe they feel, because they know there's no harsh chemicals. There's fantastic ingredients in the products, like the lemongrass oil, the tea tree oil. Mm-hmm. And like I said earlier, the Chens are expert at formulation of products, and they don't make anything unless it's safe for themselves and their family first. And so everything in our Sunrider cleaning products, even though they do an amazing job at getting rid of the harsh stuff, is safe, and you don't need to worry about, bathing your children in the bathtub, or just rinse things out, and even if they swallow it, rinse it out.
I love it.
It's almost safe.
That's cool. Dolphyn, how about you? Are these products that you have in your household as well?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, a few years ago, I think it's still on YouTube on the Sunrider page. I did a whole video on why I love the Sunbright products. And
nice.
So A, they were environmental, and B, they're economical, because like Sheryl said, you only need to have one product. I love the laundry because it's a fabric softener, it's a stain remover. I do a lot of laundry because I do massage therapy, and so I'm doing a lot of sheets. And first of all, my clients don't react if they have scent. They react to scent, mm-hmm. So I don't have to worry about that. And one of these large bottles lasts me, honestly, it lasts me close, probably half a year easy, if not more. And I'm doing laundry 2-3 times a week easily. Right. So very economical, and it's made from food. It's made from botanicals. There's no chemicals in it. So we can feel good about giving back to the environment as well by using these products.
Absolutely.
And I just did an Earth Day. Yesterday was Earth Day. I had a booth at an Earth Day event yesterday, and was, of course, demoing the fruit and veggie rinse, because that's such a great demo. But I also had the laundry there for people to smell and to test the pH with it, and just talking about it as far as a very environmental product. So yeah, I got great response from people.
Absolutely. You know, we've always found the same thing. Sheryl, weren't you telling me a story like within the last week about being in the Canadian office and somebody asking you a question about the concentration of these products, and they were saying they were going to use much more than what's normally recommended?
Oh, yes, yes.
Can you share that quickly?
Yes. Well, the big Super Clean has that big cap, and so everybody thinks that's what you use. I use like a normal load, not a big load, a normal size load. I use like a tablespoon of Super Clean, maybe 2 if it's a bigger load or I need to get some stains out. But it's very minimal how much you use. And when I do household cleaning, I use my spray bottle and I see the little cap on the little bottle? I put those little caps in my spray bottle and fill it with water. And that's my concentrated cleaner for the bathrooms, for the floors, for everything.
I know. It is funny because on the bottles, on the product fact sheets, etc., it talks about you're only supposed to use like a teaspoon or a tablespoon of this stuff with whatever you're doing. But it's funny because I think a lot of people, man, if you ever tried to use a full cap of the laundry detergent in a washer full, you'd be foaming out all over your laundry room, you know?
They even say that with the front load washers, you're only supposed to use a tablespoon of laundry detergent. You're not supposed to use more. So. But people don't get that.
You know, it's funny because with over 400 products, I mean, you guys are the same way I am. You walk around our house and you've got Sunrider this, Sunrider that. Every room has some kind of Sunrider product in it typically. And for whatever reason, we had gotten out and I hadn't ordered the Sunbright Super Clean laundry detergent in a while. And I think, well, Finn, you were talking about, I think you were mentioning doing loads and people being allergic to like scent or maybe even getting a rash on their body and stuff. And I had noticed we had been using a brand X, let's leave it at that, for the last couple of months here in our household. And I noticed those kind of things happening. I would get a little bit of a headache. I started getting a rash every once in a while on the sheets that we were using. And so I was so excited when we got this in our order this last week and started using it again. I had forgotten even over such a short period of time how wonderful this product is. So again, thank you, ladies. I appreciate you sharing on that. You know, one of the other things that we're going to talk about here in just a second is something, Finn, that you referred to a minute ago, which was our fruit and vegetable rinse, which is an incredible product. And we will talk about that in detail in the next slide. But one of the things I wanted to bring up here is, again, when we talk about spring cleanses and kind of getting into the green and you know, springtime and all the fruits and vegetables that are available for us now, I just wanted to put up here on the screen real quick some of the things that I've read about and were recommended. And actually a really great email I got in this last week from Dr. Karen Spencer-Dees, who's done a lot of calls with us in the past too, where she was sharing some of these green table foods, if you will, that help in cleansing, that kind of get us into the whole springtime feeling and approach. And I mean, it's a pretty extensive list here. And I don't know, Finn, I know you deal with these cleanses all the time. Is there anything else other than what's up on the screen that you might recommend to people that they consider in terms of dietary, other than Sunrider, of course, in terms of their cleanses?
This is a pretty good comprehensive list, actually. I was looking at it earlier, and just maybe a few, you could have listed maybe a few more of the leafy type greens.
Right.
Like your spinach. Yeah, it looks very, very comprehensive.
Yeah, I know. I kind of ran out of space on the slide because I was thinking the same thing. I mean, you know, things like, well, green beans and spring onions and basil and, you know, there's a lot of other things up to and including even, well, the spring Chinook salmon in terms of a protein and so forth too, you know, that's really good for cleanses in springtime. But again, I thought this might be a great slide and now lead us into our fruit and vegetable rinse. And Finn, to you on this one first. I mean, tell us a little about your experience with this product, what you like about it, what you would recommend to others.
Well, like I said, I was doing this demo just last night at the Earth Day event. And I mean, what's very significant when you talk to people is I would say the majority of people either don't wash their produce before they consume it, or they just use water. And when you see that demo of, you know, just using water, and the water just beating off the produce because they put wax on produce to keep it fresh looking, to keep the pesticides from washing away in the fields. You know, now you're not even getting into the pesticides and you know, eggs and things that little bugs can put, you know, have on the produce. So, and then the significance of first of all, just the difference in seeing the produce, how much greener, how much fresher it looks when you use a fruit and veggie rinse, and how much longer the produce lasts. You don't get that mold and things like that as fast, especially on things like strawberries and your berries, and how much better it tastes. And sometimes I'll even have, it's at the end of the night, I'll even let people taste the difference, because you can actually taste the difference. And the thing is with our fruit and veggie rinse, first of all, what people don't realize is that Sunrider was the first company to ever create a rinse. Now, there are other rinses out there nowadays, but again, ours is made with no chemicals, no soaps, so you don't have to re-rinse. You can just put it all in the sink, let it soak, take it out, dry it, put it in your fridge, you're good to go. And it actually does kill bacteria. It does kill fungus. So right now, I don't know, up in Canada here, we just had a romaine lettuce announcement, E. coli in the romaine lettuce.
Same in Arizona.
Same here. So I could speak to this yesterday and just say, what I would do with that is I would probably add a little extra to my sink of the, you know, just to be safe. I would add a little extra rinse and I would let it soak a little longer. But I can feel at ease to know that it actually, our rinse can kill things like E. coli and salmonella. So these are, yeah, it's, and then of course I travel with it, right? You know how
we all
travel with it, yeah. So yeah, it works. It's one of my absolute have to have it.
Yeah, I'm so happy it comes in the trial size because like you, that's what I travel with all the time when I'm around the world. And I'm always buying apples and other fruits and stuff that have to get washed before I eat them. So
yeah.
Right
well,
on.
And people don't think about even like, you know, they say, oh, well, I buy organic or I grow my own. And it's just like, but you don't know who's touched that product. You don't know if they've coughed and then put their hands on it. You don't know, you can't control the air. Like there's exhaust and car fumes, and so yeah.
Right on. Cheryl, how about you? What do you want to tell people about this particular product?
Well, Finn did an awesome job on it. For me, I love that it's pH balanced, which is great. If it touches your hand, you don't have to worry about it. I put some in a little spray bottle. I spray my toothbrush after I use my toothbrush. I take it with me when I travel too. Clean if on the flight, I clean a little table because of all the stuff there. I mean, it's just the most amazing product because it just has so many uses and it's so safe. And like you say, Dr. Ken said, this is his prize product.
Yeah.
And with the other products are so amazing. If this is his prize, it's got to be right up there.
Right on. Well, you know, it's funny. I can remember him saying, oh boy, years ago, we were talking about this product and him kind of referring to it as, God, what was his words? It had to do with basically being the fire of Sunrider, where no matter what you put in it, it's gonna take away all the bad stuff. It'll burn off all the bad things, like Finn, you were talking about. I mean, all the waxes, the pesticides, etc. It all comes off whatever you soak in the stuff. And you mentioned that it was an all natural kind of cleansing, and you're right. The actual name of what cleanses in fruit and vegetable rinse is decyl polyglucose, which is a biodegradable surfactant that's derived, as you said, all naturally from coconuts and corn. And it's so powerfully concentrated, and it truly does all the things that you guys were talking about before. I remember, Oh gosh, last year I think Judy Dinsler was on a call with us talking, bless you, about this subject as well, and she was relating back to some of the other ways that people have used this out in their gardens when people have mites on like rose bushes and stuff. You can have it in a spray bottle and it'll clear up that. Athlete's foot, which is nothing but candida on the exterior, spray a little of that and it'll help diminish the symptoms and get rid of that. And Finn, I think it was so important. I want to mention it again with what you just said about the romaine lettuce and the E. coli situation, because, I saw, and I don't know where this volume came from, but it was basically 5 milliliters of this rinse mixed with 1 gallon of water will eliminate or destroy up to 99% of E. coli, salmonella, and any other organisms that are on any of these products or foods. And when you start thinking about that, the point you made about the taste, absolutely, the color. I mean, again, the longevity of the produce after rinsing in this stuff. And I guess one last question for one of you, whichever one wants to answer. I mean, I know I normally put a cap full in a tub of water when you rinse stuff. Do you guys have any other volume considerations or suggestions on use that you want to share with folks?
I use the little green cap on the travel one in like a big stainless steel bowl. That's
Right.
what I do.
Right.
And wash all the light stuff like the lettuces and things first. And then it's good in the water for about an hour.
Right.
So, and then once the hour is up, whatever you put down the drain, you're not putting anything down the drain except the water.
Absolutely. Well, and Dolphyn, I think you mentioned a minute ago when you were speaking about this too, which is so right on. This is the one fruit and vegetable rinse on the market that does not require a second rinse. It is all natural, and you can just rinse and consume. So, great stuff.
And it doesn't taste so, like, doesn't make the produce taste soapy or anything. I like just to, when I do my grocery shopping, I just throw everything in my sink, like just a big sink, get it all done. And then I'll do all my produce, take all that out, and then I'll throw in my raw chicken and fish as well.
Oh, cool. Now,
particularly chicken, because even organic chicken, the surface of chicken, birds are just really dirty. Yes. So they actually have salmonella. I know when I used to work many years ago at Whole Foods, they even randomly took raw chicken and would test it. And even though it was organic and came from Whole Foods and all that, it still came up with salmonella. Now, as soon as you cook it, like it was on the surface of the breast of chicken. So as soon as you cook it, it would destroy that. But it's just like, for me, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to I'm just going to throw it in the rinse and then cut it up, or you do whatever I'm doing with it.
Exactly.
So. It's the same with rice and nuts and, we wash all that kind of thing and then dry it out.
Yeah.
And, the other thing I was going to say with fruit and vegetable rinse, if you want to get rid of mold, if you put some fruit and vegetable rinse in with the all-purpose cleaner, spray it on your window ledges, it lifts the mold.
Oh, there you go. See, 1,001 uses, as they say.
Yeah.
I love it. Hey, one last question before we move off of this and then get into the meat of the presentation day. How long, Dolphyn, do you typically rinse your fruit and vegetables? How long do you leave it in the solution before you pull them out?
Well, different produce have, like, there's the dirty, what they call the dirty dozen. So depends on the produce will determine how many pesticides, how many different types of pesticides are used on that. I like to err on the side of caution. So sometimes, like light things like strawberries and berries, 5 minutes is good. But with the broccolis and the lettuces and things, you know what? I'll throw it in and I'll go do something. So I'll leave it in for a good 10 or 15 minutes just to be safe.
Perfect.
And then come back and deal with it.
That's the 5-minute rule has kind of been my rule of thumb as well. But that's why I was curious what you guys were doing too with different things. So thank you for sharing that. I guess, let's go ahead and move right into cleansing and detoxing, and in particular the liver. And Finn, again, I'm gonna turn over to you on the most of this in terms of the presentation here. But one of the things up on the screen now talks about this liver being seen as regulating the flow of qi. And one of the things we talk a lot about in karate is qi, that internal energy, that life force energy that we have. And I think it kind of deserves its own call, so I'm not going to go into a lot of depth with it right now. But there was a great article, I think it was J.W. and Lois Emerson that originally put this out, and it's been shared by a lot of Sunriders over the year. But it's basically the body electric, and it talks about, when we look at qi, it's really the life force of the body, and the fact that when most people think about energy, we think about that outer energy, our activities, our walking, our running, our, doing stuff around the house. And in the energy that we're talking about with qi is really the result of the workings of this incredible body of ours, because, traveling from cell to cell at the speed of light are, these pulsating currents of energy that really help drive our organs and our muscles. And in very simple terms, it kind of gets down to this basic principle, and that is everything we put in our body either makes an energy deposit or an energy withdrawal. And Sheryl, coming back, and the reason I wanted one of you kind of deliver the philosophy of regeneration information, because when we talk about whole foods and the fact that Sunrider is all whole foods, it's natural. There's no chemicals or isolates. It's super concentrated. Those are the energy deposits that we're making in our body that keeps us healthy and keeps us going. So with that kind of preface, Dolphyn, talk to us some about spring cleansing and detoxing, and the liver in particular, and whatever you want to share with us, please.
Okay. So the idea of spring and correlating it to the organ of the liver, it comes from traditional Chinese medicine, which what I love about Sunrider as well is it's very much steeped in that philosophy and in traditional Chinese medicine. So it works really well in correlation with a lot of these theories. So each season has its own organ system and different characteristics, and those organ systems have their own characteristics as well in the TCM model. So the liver it's springtime. Certain things, something like, for example, the liver is considered the general of the body, in that it produces over 500 functions. So it actually, if you think of a general, like as far as an army, the general knows what's going on with everything. And so does the liver. The liver communicates with all the different organ systems. It organizes all the different organ systems. And so it has its purpose in the immune function by producing white blood cells and manufacturing, helping to destroy germs. Everything that comes into the body has to go through the liver to be purified so that it can go in, so the nutrients can go into the blood. So it purifies the blood. It's very important for hormone manufacturing and distribution. Of course, it manufactures and secretes bile through the gallbladder. It actually stores 20 to 30% of your body's blood volume. So, and of course, it also metabolizes fat. So anything fat-based has to go through the liver to be metabolized. So, and then it metabolizes other nutrients as well, the proteins and carbohydrates, but fat is a really big part of the liver's process. Also, some fun little things to think about with the traditional Chinese medicine and the liver is that it has an emotion. So we correlate the emotion of anger or jealousy with the liver. So if you tend to find yourself being really short-tempered or just really a quick fuse, you might have some imbalances in your liver that you have to look at. The color green is correlated with the liver. So the liver loves green food. And I know we'll be talking more about that in a couple of slides. The element is the wood element. And the sense organs are our eyes and our vision. So the liver really connects very much to our eyes. And so again, if you have weak, if you have some vision issues, you might want to look at what's going on with your liver. Also, the time of day. It's called a circadian clock. Mm-hmm. So each organ has a 2-hour time frame where it's at its strongest. And for the liver, that's from 1 to 3 a.m. So if you find yourself waking up at that time, maybe you have insomnia, or you wake up at that time, then again, it might be that the liver is talking to you, and that you need to do some balancing of the liver. And also the taste. So sour and acid is correlated with the liver. So if you have an excessive craving for sour, pickles or sour food, a little bit nourishes the liver, and excess tells you that that your liver is out of balance. So, you kind of find that balance with that. So those are some kind of little fun things to think about. Nice. From a Chinese medicine perspective when you're looking at the body, and for this time of year with the liver. I think that's fabulous. Thank you. I love talking to you two guys about all this stuff because I learned so much. I've been sitting here making notes as you've been talking about things I hadn't realized. I did know about the wood element. I was aware of a few of the things, including the body clock, which, by the way, I have a great chart of the clock you're talking about that I'll try to provide as an attachment with the Fusion Network newsletter this month that will support this call so people can see what you're talking about with that. And Mac, I just want to add something with the circadian clock. So you don't necessarily want to wake up between 1 and 3 a.m. and feed your liver. So you can do it on the 12 hours. So from 1 to 3 p.m. is a good time then to consciously maybe eat a salad or eat some greens or have a green drink or things, or have some Fortune Delight or something like that. So you can do it on that 12-hour clock as well. Got it. Well, something else that was really bless you, really impacted me with what you were talking about is I guess I hadn't realized that the liver was tied so much to vision in the eyes, and having a bit of an eye challenge myself still from having poked myself in the eye stupidly, I'm still kind of recovering from all of that. I don't have complete vision, and this is great information because now I want to be able to feed my liver. I want to be able to consume more of the green things that we'll be talking about here in a minute too. And again, thank you so much for sharing that stuff. And there's no coincidences. I'll just very quick, back to the whole body clock thing. It's funny. I've been waking up the last few nights not more, like it's been like at 4:11 every single morning. Okay, for the last 3 or 4 mornings. And so no coincidence here. Joey and I were talking about this last night. She's going, well, I know you have that body clock thing. You need to pull that out and find out what's going on. So honest to goodness, I was looking at it this very morning, okay, and that period of time has more to do with the lungs. So I broke out my Conco this morning, and I've been kind of megadosing Conco today. So I'll report back to everybody next month how that worked. Okay, so anyway, that kind of took us off track, but it was one more of those there's no coincidence things with what we talk about and what goes on. Sheryl, before we get on and we talk about dandelion root, did you have anything else you wanted to offer just on basic detox and cleansing or the liver?
Oh, I think Finn did an awesome job. Yeah,
me too. I couldn't think of anything else for sure. So
I know,
that's cool. Dolphyn, thank you so much. This next slide here was something which you've kind of talked on already, but it was a bit to do with the 10 health benefits of dandelion root. And I guess that's where we're going to go next here. And Dolphyn, would you agree, based on all the information you just shared with us, which was incredible, that it is important once or twice a year to maybe look at doing a cleanse of the liver. And again, one of the things that we could use to do that is a single herb dandelion root that we can get from Sunrider. And was there anything you wanted to touch on with this slide, or should we just kind of move on to the dandelion root?
Well, let's just, there are so many health benefits of dandelion root. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny because it's springtime, right? And so those pretty little yellow flowers pop up everywhere. And here in the North America, people just see them as a scourge, right? I got to kill those dandelions. And I'm like, this is like free tonic, like free beautiful food for our body, right?
Right on.
So if you don't use sprays and stuff, the early spring dandelion, like in your yard, the early ones are the best. They taste the best, and you don't want to get them when they're getting old, but that early, you can go dig them up, and the roots you can kind of dry out. You can actually even make it into, it almost tastes like almost like a chicory kind of coffee kind of thing. But dandelion root, and the whole dandelion, the leaves as well, like, again, beautiful greens. Throw the leaves in a salad. They're just they're a beautiful tonic, that just the whole body just does little happy dance when you put it in your body.
I love it. Well, it was funny. I was talking to another lady, one of our IBOs, last week, and the reason she was calling me is she had an issue where her teenage son was dealing with some acne related issues. And I started looking through the Sunrider catalog and my kind of wealth of knowledge here that you build up over the years. And I guess I had forgotten until I looked at it again that the dandelion root, and our dandelion in particular, really helps in terms of skin related issues, detoxifying the poisons from the body, all that kind of stuff. So it was one of the things I recommended her for her son that he might consider incorporating into his diet.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a mild natural antibiotic. So yeah, absolutely. Anything gut related, the dandelion. And I recommend Sunrider sells it in capsules. If you're busy and on the run, great. Like, actually, I will take 1 or 2 capsules just throughout the year, just kind of as part of my routine. And then when it comes to springtime, then I'll up it. And then I like to open it up and make it into a tea. So I open those capsules up, make it into a tea. So you get that subliminal effect, and it tastes lovely. Like, it's yeah.
Okay, I'm glad. Perfect timing. Okay, because I was going to ask you for myself. Okay, let's just talk about me for a second. If I was to do a liver cleanse using our dandelion root, I just heard the answer to my first question in terms of how would you suggest I utilize it? 2 or 3 capsules, warm water, drink it as a tea. Would you do that once a day, twice a day? How would you, well, no cure disease, but how would you dose?
Yeah. So during a cleanse, like if you're specifically, okay, we're in springtime, we're really focusing on the liver, I would do it 3 times a day. 2 to 3 capsules in a tea, have it at least 3 times a day. Now, like I said, throughout and that's what I used to just do that. And then I'd kind of put dandelion root in the cupboard and not think about it again till the next spring. But again, with our Sunrider foods, everything we can consume daily. Like, we don't have to worry about cycling because they're not medicinal. So then I was like, you know what, this is just really, my liver likes this. So then I just started taking 2 capsules once a day throughout the rest of the year. But during the spring, and once I gear up for my big spring cleanse, which lasts around 10 to 14 days, then I'm drinking it 3 times a day.
Perfect. Sheryl, I assume you get involved with these detoxing and cleanses as well. Is there anything more that you would add about dandelion root and your own detox and cleansing that you do?
Well, I don't actually do the cleanse, but I do dandelion every morning in my Cali tea. So I open 2 capsules in Cali, and I do it all year long.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I have it every morning.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
And one other thing I'd like to mention before we get off of dandelion is also that our cal tabs, I know we don't have a slide for that, but our cal tabs are extremely rich in dandelion leaf and alfalfa. And so again, you're getting dandelion. If you take the cal tabs, you're getting dandelion. And one thing that it's extremely alkaline. If you one of the, sometimes what can happen, a side effect of an imbalanced liver are headaches and migraines, for example. And people who suffer from migraines or digestive issues is that they may throw up. That can sometimes happen. It happens to me. And what I discovered was I would then, if that happened and I had to purge, I would chew on a couple of Cal tabs, and it just took that acid level almost instantaneously and just whew. And so then I could just instantly feel all down my esophagus and into the stomach, just, it feels so much more alkaline, and that acid just decreased big time. And in springtime, a lot of people will say, oh, I got heartburn, I have acid reflux, my digestion, and these are all comments that people make around this time of year, myself included. It's just like my body's saying, you need to lighten up. And so I really enjoyed the Cal tabs, which is rich in dandelion, for that as well.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Sheryl, any last comments from you, or should we move on?
No, I do too dandelion every day myself. So
there we go. Thank you. And that was great insight. Yeah, that was great insight on the herb Cal tabs too. I hadn't put that connection together, Dolphyn, but it makes perfect sense. And I think there's a lot of people that will respond to what you were just talking about. So thank you. Mm-hmm. One of the other products, kind of getting back to the green, and something, Dolphyn, you were mentioning before, is our Evergreen product, which is extraordinary in its own right. And Sheryl, turn to you first on this one. Give us your story on Evergreen and why you like this particular product.
I just happen to have it right here.
As a matter of fact, huh?
Yeah. I love Evergreen. You know, chlorophyll is very important. It's the lifeblood of the plant, and it's awesome for purifying our blood. I find it gives me a lot of energy when I put it in my Fortune Delight. So I make a drink every day in my big bottle. This is a concentrate, so it actually makes 2 of these 500 milliliter bottles if you put half in, half in. But I'm an extremist, so I put the whole vial in, and I add, you know, other things like Vitafruit and Electrosport. And anyway, it's just loaded with the antioxidant and phytonutrients, and it provides iron and the right amount of copper, and it's delicious. It tastes so minty and rich.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a real showstopper. Every time someone sees me with this, I always get, what are you drinking? It looks really green.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good way to introduce people.
Well, isn't that perfect too, huh? When we can have people stop us and ask us what we're drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on. Dolphyn, how about you? How do you use Evergreen? Any benefits you'd like to share?
Oh my gosh, I love Evergreen. I love it. Okay, so a few things that really set Evergreen apart from other liquid chlorophylls, because there's lots of liquid chlorophylls in the industry. First of all, I don't know of any other liquid chlorophyll on the market that is fat soluble. If you go to a grocery or a health food store, guaranteed most of that is water soluble, which means that A, it's already dead because it's already been oxidized.
Yep.
And B, the liver will not absorb as much of it because, as I said earlier, the liver works with fat soluble. And chlorophyll in its natural state is fat soluble. So you want to give your body it in its natural state. The liver recognizes it and then can actually absorb it and then go to use it. So plus, you'll see in the picture here, the vial is a small vial. It's dark so that the light can't, you really don't want oxidization. Mm-hmm. And you'll know, like if you leave an Evergreen open and out for too long, it gets funky. Right. And that's the and that just like orange juice, right? Fresh orange juice looks beautiful, orange, tastes great. You leave it out for a few hours, it gets kind of brown, it tastes kind of yucky. That's oxidization. So it's dead. So ours is alive until, and you open it up, it's still alive, boom. You put it in your water bottle, like Sheryl said. That one vial can make anywhere from 500 mils to a liter, depending on how strong you want it. So it's really, and it's easy to carry around with you. And it's great for energy. Like, I notice the difference. If I go a few days without having my Evergreen, it's like, oh, kind of like, because I don't drink coffee and things like that. So I notice a difference. I start using it. It's like, wow. Especially for women, we have our monthly cycle. So we can be prone to anemia. And I've had lots of clients use this, pregnant women or women with anemia just through their cycle, and their energy goes up, their blood tests get into balance. It's really fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you. This truly is one of our many premier products, and like you two, I use it every day myself. Matter of fact, last month when I was in Australia and we did some of our testimonies from down under, a couple of the IBOs shared their experience with Evergreen as well, and one, Kirsty, shared her story of using it during her pregnancy and post-pregnancy, and that was sent out last month, and it's on our website for those that didn't get a chance to see it. Nola Ann Lean shared, kind of like you did, Dolphyn, in terms of it being oil or fat based, and how that allows it to be assimilated, as you said, into the liver. And I guess, before we move off of this one and go to our last product for this month, since we are talking about liver cleanse using dandelion roots, etc., would you incorporate Evergreen more during this time of the cleanse as well? Would that be something you would suggest?
Yeah. So again, with my cleanse, it's not a fast, it's a cleanse. So the difference being is that people are slowly weaning themselves off of solid food. So it's not like you're going 10 days with just drinking water or something like that, right? But when we do get to our liquid only days, the Evergreen is definitely the star. Sheryl mentioned Electrosport and Vitafruit. We use Fortune Delight. And you can just make this big power drink. And it's so nutrient dense that what I love about Sunrider is makes cleansing so easy is that your body does not feel hungry because it's got nutrients. Now mentally you might still, it's more the mental thing of like, oh, I should be eating something. But if you actually give your body nutrients and nutrient dense liquids, it doesn't feel hungry. It's completely satisfied. So what I find that the biggest comment people say to me when they've gone through my cleanse is how much easier it was than they thought it was going to be. And Sunrider is the star because of that. And I've had people do the cleanse without the Sunrider products because I give them the choice. But they don't get the same results. Like they don't get the same kind of experience, and it's harder for them.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Kind of the last product that we're going to share this month is our Vitadophilus. And if I can turn back to you, Sheryl, for a second on Vitadophilus. This, again, it sounds like we say this with every single product. It's one of the ones I use every day, kind of stuff, but it becomes true. Tell us a little bit about Vitadophilus, what it does for you, why you like it.
Well, I have it every morning, and sometimes I'll have it later in the day, and sometimes I cut up an apple and get a Vitafruit in one dish and the Vitadophilus and use it as a dessert. It's
you dip, huh? Right.
What sets our Vitadophilus apart is that it's coated with an apopectin.
Right.
And we all know how important apopectin is as far as nourishing the body too. But what it does is it protects the acidophilus culture that the Vitadophilus is, right? So what happens when we consume it is that we get to use all of the billions of bacteria instead of some of them being destroyed as they go through the system. It tastes so yummy. when I demo this or let people taste it on their hand, they're like, oh my gosh, this is good for you. I say, it's really good for you. And I do know that Vitadophilus is our biggest selling product in Canada anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can use it for so many things. Like you can use it as, instead of sugar on your cereal, put it in salad dressing if you like a little sweet taste to your salad dressing. Put it in anything you want, really. But it's really good if you have it first thing in the morning on its own.
Right on. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. Dolphyn, you, Vitadophilus. Tell us about your story.
Yeah, it's another star. Just generally not cleansing thinking wise, it is a daily product. It is best taken on an empty stomach because you do want to get that acidophilus bacteria, like Sheryl said, into the small intestine. So it has to pass through the stomach. So that apple pectin does protect it. And also what I love is that it doesn't have to be refrigerated. So Dr. Chen, his genius, he's figured out a way to keep that package sealed so that there's no oxidization, the bacteria is very fragile. So you expose it to heat, especially heat and acid and air and stuff like that, it starts to break down. When I used to work, again, like I said, at Whole Foods, we would get lots of orders and there'd be boxes on the floor, on the counter, and so you'd slowly get through them all. Well, sometimes those acidophilus would be sitting on the counter for hours before it would get into the fridge. And who knows how long it was sitting on the truck before it got to us. So what a lot of companies have done now, if you look at the difference you might go to a store and see, oh, this has, 5 billion live cultures, right? And ours might only have 1 billion. Mm-hmm. But the difference is that most companies, that's their solution, is that they just pack it, hoping that maybe 1 billion will make it, right? So, and you pay a lot more money because they're having to pack it full, right? But whereas with ours, we know that the majority of it is getting into the small intestine where it needs to go. Well, I recommend to anybody that gets it from me, I don't like putting it in liquid because I find it really clumps and sticks to the side, and then I just feel like you're wasting it. So usually I tell people just open the package, take it dry, and then wash it down with some liquid because otherwise you do kind of waste it. So that's how I recommend people take it. It's great for kids. And like Sheryl said, because it tastes so good, it's easy to get to kids to take it. And there was one other thing. If you before you go to bed, if you take it, it can actually help you sleep better. And if you've maybe have some indigestion, it can actually help soothe the tummy as well.
Very nice. Thank you both so much for sharing on these products. It's been a great review, and I know people have really learned a lot listening to this call for sure. There's a couple other things I just wanted to share before we close things down this month. Month of May, Mother's Day is coming up. Here in both in Canada and the United States, we have a couple of Mother's Day specials. Sheryl, Finn, thank you guys for forwarding on the information on Canada. Sheryl, is there anything you'd say about the Canadian promotions that you wanted people to be aware of, or?
Well, even without the promotion, best skincare ever.
Truly.
So the bags are a bonus.
Yeah, exactly.
I got mine. I got my bags.
Oh, perfect. And we've got our own specials here in the U.S. too. And you're right, it's the ultimate Candescent Glam pack, or the beauty pack, or the skincare pack. And we get little extra gifts that come with ours in the U.S. too. So again, just wanted to share this with people. If you're looking for something, if you want to spoil mom, your wife, whomever, these are great gift sets and promos to take advantage of. So perfect with that. Dolphyn, back to you for a second. You've got your I love this. The Infinite Freedom presents, okay, your cleanse coming up that you're kind of hosting and mentoring people through from April 30th to May 9th. You want to share a little bit on this? What are you doing?
Yes. So as you can see, it's my 16th annual. So I've been doing this particular event for 16 years here in Saskatoon. Why I started doing this is, first of all, I've been doing cleanses for over 25 years. I've done everything that you could possibly do wrong, I have done. One time even almost like could have killed myself. And you know, people, I tell these stories, people, we can laugh about it now, but it was kind of scary at times. And so I was like, first of all, I just wanted to help people not go through things like that. And people were always curious about what I was doing. And also it just was nice to do it with people, just to have that support and that camaraderie. And I tell you, I have some people that have been with me every year. They do this with me every year. So it's a really great, gentle, but very effective process. Like I said, it's a gradual elimination process. So each day we're eliminating a food group till we're finally down to liquids. And the liquid days are the weekend, where usually people aren't working and they can just rest and relax. I have classes that we meet every second day, so that for support. And also we go through qigong, like breath exercises, yoga, just different things, just to, again, really focus on nourishing all aspects of our being, not just the body, but the mind and the heart as well. We go hug some trees.
Yeah, right on.
Things like that. And Sunrider is definitely the star, because it's food. You can do it easily. We can do it safely. I've had teenagers join me to do this. I've had pregnant women do this, and in different cases, I'll modify it. So if somebody has diabetes or if somebody is pregnant, we'll modify it. But really, almost anybody can do this. And for people that aren't in Saskatoon, I will work with them remotely. So it is something that I really look forward to doing every year.
You know, I was just going to ask you about that aspect. When you say work remotely, you would set up like your own Zoom call or by Skype, or you'd have some way of communicating with people on a regular basis through the period of the cleanse, yes?
That's right. And then I'll send them the program. So I have a whole program kit that each cleanser, like when they're participating, and then it's just support, answering questions, that kind of thing.
Well, there you go. So folks, anybody who's interested in joining Dolphyn on this, her phone number, email address is right up on their screen, and I'll make sure we post that in the newsletter as well, Dolphyn. So thank
you, Mark. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Before we get into this last subject of IBO requirements and convention, Sheryl, there's a couple other meetings coming up in Canada here in the next couple of weeks in May, right? Do you have dates and locations for those by chance?
The one in Regina is going to be on May the 10th.
Right.
I'm waiting on the flyer, so I don't have the location yet, but it's at a hotel, I think. We'll have that tomorrow, the flyer. Right. And then our superstar here, Finn, she's
so excited.
I am too. She's hosting. I'm coming along for the ride. Cool. Anyway, so she'll tell you about the one in Saskatoon.
So yes, it's been way too long since Sheryl's been to Saskatoon, and so my group can't wait to give her big hugs and see her. So we're going to have, it's going to be 3 days. May 10th, we're going to have a potluck, and then Friday, Craig is coming from Sunrider, Canada, and we're going to have an event here in Saskatoon at the Le Relais Francophone building. And then Saturday morning will be business training, and we've got another location for that. So the flyers, I haven't gotten the flyers yet, but all the details of where it's going to be in Saskatoon will be on the flyers, and I can't wait.
We're going to have a good time.
It's going to be so much fun. I wish I could be up there with you guys, but hey, I'll see you both in July at convention. So that'll have to be soon enough. Hey, time-wise, just to kind of finish up the call this month, there was a couple of the last subjects I wanted to touch on, and that is the current IBO requirements. And really, there's only two requirements here within the Infinity Compensation Plan for IBOs. Number one is some kind of annual accumulation of purchases. Here in the United States, it's $200. In Canada, it's $260. And the second requirement is we each all pay as an IBO an annual renewal fee. And that comes up on the anniversary of the plan, which is May 31st, I should say, of this year. And that fee has just been lowered for both of us in the US and Canada. Mainly Sunrider. Yeah, I know. And the reason that happened is Sunrider was taking into consideration some of the sales tax issues and the fact that there's people in certain provinces with you guys and states in the US where we would actually have to pay sales tax on that if it was the old fee. So you're right, Finn, Sunrider basically cut the thing in half, and it's $59 in the US and $77 in Canada. And I just wanted to remind everybody that these are very common in the industry. Sunrider is doing it on an annual basis. What we used to have is an old monthly maintenance fee they charged us. And again, this replaces the monthly fee that we used to experience. Now it's just done once a year, which is much easier and much simpler. This is all coming about today in terms of these new rates and how it's done. And the reason I put this next shot up on the screen is there's two ways that you can accomplish paying that fee, okay? And by the way, as an IBO, this is a responsibility we have. We need to let Sunrider know we want to stay as an IBO and therefore accept this fee. Well, on the Shop Online page with Sunrider, there's a nice little box that comes up now that allows you to just hit Renew Now, and it becomes a cost associated with your current order that you're placing. Now, when I did that this morning myself, what I thought was extremely convenient is you can, next to that line item of the renewal fee, it lets you check the auto ship box. So I checked that. So from now on, it's going to be automatic every year in the month of May. I'm just going to get charged that fee by Sunrider. So take a look at that. Now, if you don't go on Shop Online, if you phone in your orders or something, you can also call the distributor reps department, or either in the US and Canada. And I think I was smart enough to put that slide up. Yes, I did. So in the US, it's the 1310 number. In Canada, it's the 604 number. Call the business services department and say, hey, I'm an IBO. Here's my name and my number. I do want to continue on as an IBO. Please charge the fee against my account, or here's my credit card. So again, very simple way to do this, but it's important for us. I mean, as IBOs, we have to take on that responsibility of letting Sunrider know that's where we want to stay. Because the alternative is we fall back to preferred customer, which isn't a terrible thing, but I kind of like earning retail profit and bonus income and sponsoring people and all those wonderful things that comes along with the Sunrider business. So anyway, enough on that one. Preferred customers, again, IBOs, if we don't stay as an IBO for either our accumulation or we choose not to pay that annual fee, we can fall back to preferred customers. And further to that, for current IBOs that were in this plan on May 31st or June 1st, 2017, if their whole reason for being an IBO was simply they wanted the best price, they have the ability to switch to preferred customer between now and the end of May. They still will get Sunrider's best price. The only requirement that they're going to have is that they do at least 200 or 260 in Canada in purchases every 6 months on a cumulative basis. So again, if your only reason for being an IBO was you wanted the best price, you never wanted to build a business, you don't care about earning profit or bonuses, then this is a very easy solution for you. Just become a grandfathered preferred customer, if you will. But again, that must be done by May 31st of this year. Okay, and we'll talk about this more over the next month as well, but I just wanted to bring this up to everybody. The switch to become a preferred customer is easy. Either send an email to Sunrider from the email address that you have on file with the company, or in the United States, send a letter to the address in Torrance, or in Canada to the Port Coquitlam, easy for me to say, Port Coquitlam address. Oh boy, that went 3 times fast. And with that same information, then the company will handle it for you. last but not least, Grand Convention. Sheryl, why should people come to convention?
It's my favorite time of the year. Sunrider is about the heart. And when you go to convention, you're with a room full of people that come from the heart. You hear amazing stories. You get to have so much fun because Sunrider does it first class all the way. And it is our business. And, you know, when it's your business, you want to go. You want to connect with the owners. You want to know what's happening. You want to tour the facilities. You just want to be where it's all happening. So I wouldn't miss it.
Absolutely. Dolphyn,
For 30 years.
I know, exactly. Dolphyn, I see you every year as well. Why should somebody come to convention?
Well, for all the reasons that Sheryl just mentioned, and it means a lot to people, especially when you're talking to new people. When I say, I've met with the owners, I have the opportunity to speak with the owners. I've seen the manufacturing. I know exactly what it looks like and what they do. A lot of companies don't show people the inner workings of the business. We get to see that for ourselves. So, and it's a family reunion. To me, it's a family run business, right? The Chens, but it's also a family run, like all of us. It feels like family. So it's like a family reunion. You feel like you, at least once a year, I get to see my family, and it's fun and it's inspiring. And it's a write-off. So, it's in Anaheim this year. So, you get a nice
land. Hooray. Exactly.
Yeah.
You both are right on, and thank you for sharing that. And I agree with everything. I mean, it's a wonderful experience. I wouldn't miss it either for all of the reasons you guys got through talking about. And, for me, Finn, you're right on. I mean, to be able to tour the facility, and, I talk all the time coming out of manufacturing, and the fact that there's a real distinction between manufacturing under a food grade license or a pharmaceutical grade license, which is the higher standard. And when people can actually tour that facility and see what it means to operate under a pharmaceutical grade standard, which the company does not have to do, okay? It kind of just locks it in for people. And so I'm like you, I'm pushing people all the time, go on the tour, see what the facility's all about. And you guys mentioned family too, and you're right, it is a whole Sunrider family community. But for us specifically within our group, we'll be doing our family reunion dinner again this year. There'll be more information coming out in the next 30 to 45 days on that with specifics of what we're doing. But I'm just so looking forward to July and being able to give you guys both a hug versus seeing you at long distance like this. So can't wait for all of that. Dolphyn, Sheryl, thank you both so much for sharing the way that you have this month. I know people are going to get a ton out of this call because there was some great information shared. And again, I will try to put up that body clock thing with the newsletter. And Dolphyn, I'll try to find that YouTube link you were talking about earlier on too, where you were talking about some of this other stuff as well as the cleansing and everything. I'll see if I can find a link for that for everyone on that. So I guess with that, everybody, thank you so much. We'll talk to you again next month.
Finn, you're amazing.
Bye. Love you guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you.